What up? Yo, 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 and a bottle of rum. It's the day before the NHL trade deadline, baby cakes. The trade deadline, not the tread deadline. I mean, it's coming fast and furious. And I don't mean Vin Diesel, baby dolls. We got the new camera looking good. Looking good. Yes, indeed. And we got my new chair. I can just sit back now. The technological makeover is complete with Earl Skakel in the Earlverse. Thank you very much. So, if you are not a hockey fan, we can talk about other stuff. Stagwar coming in hot. Pew! Ma, 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 ma. There he is. Yes, here I am. We got, I'm a hockey fan, as you guys know. I know the majority of you are not. John Doe. Wait, you're too strict. I can't. Feel free to talk and get replies. Let me say stuff. I don't know what that means. Can I get that in English, John Doe? I'm not strict at all. I don't. Let me hold on. Let me go in my. Well, I don't want to go offline. I'm not sure what that means. Good evening, Richard Kish. Good evening, Kip Smith, my moderator for tonight's festivities. Is the great Kip Smith. Gina Babina might be coming in. Who knows? Someone's been drinking, I think, tonight. Will you go serial killer on me if I say what you don't like? I mean, you are speaking an Ultimate Warrior cryptic like lingo, baby dolls. Now I have to go to yoga at 6:00, so I have to leave at about 5:40. Tomorrow I'm flirting with maybe the longest stream in the Earlverse history. The trade deadline starts tomorrow, 10 p.m. 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that's 7 a.m. my time and ends at noon on the button. I don't know. John Doe, you're forcing my hand here. You're going to have to super chat me what you're talking about. See how that was? See how I did that on the DL? Um, I couldn't finish it. I didn't like it, Stagwar. To be honest with you. I really think after the only other film in the Predator series that I like remotely is Predator versus Alien. Because I love the ending of that when the dead Predator is. No, I don't mean some of my LA comedy friends, but he's on the slab and they're going back home, and then the alien pops out of his stomach. I thought that was really well done. And then the others just kind of, I don't know, just didn't do it for me. I mean, the problem is, I was just listening to The Outfield. You guys know that. I like that song. I'm doing fine. John Doe, I'm doing fine. His Predator was like the Outfield song, Your Love. It just was such a good start to the franchise that nothing was going to be good after it. I mean, I did like the premise of Predator 2. It's in the city of Los Angeles. But that one kind of fell flat because the cast wasn't as good. I mean, that's the thing. That first Predator, the cast was just, they had great chemistry. And, the second cast, Gary Busey, Danny Glover, I don't know. It's just all right. I think Ruben Blades, if I'm not mistaken. Maria Conchita Alonso for you Running Man freaks. And upstairs on Tuesday nights, if you know what I'm saying. Um, yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, now I believe they tried to get Schwarzenegger for it. And if you believe that, then, you know, maybe he wanted too much money. But he probably would have been the only reason people were going to see the film. So it was probably justified. Um, but I did like the billboards for Predator 2 because I remember it's just a huge picture of the Predator, and it said, "Coming to LA with a few days to kill." Um, so I thought it was funny, but it just didn't have the magic. I feel the same way about the Lethal Weapon movies. The first one was so good that, and I know that maybe the second and third films might have made more money than Lethal Weapon, but I still like the first one the best. Hello, Ross Incognito. I'm getting some new cover art from my buddy Jordan the Lion for the Earlverse. I'm spending money on this Earlverse. The sign, the mic, the camera, the cover art. I want to give you guys something that you look forward to watching. And this is a good time to squeeze in before other streamers start and are ending. So hit the like button, hit the likes, hit the likes. I start Lethal Weapon 4. It was good. It just wasn't Lethal Weapon. I mean, nothing beats Gary Busey as Mr. Joshua. And I think a hidden star of Lethal Weapon was Mitchell Ryan, who played General Peter McAllister. And action. Don't try it, son. You're not that fast. You're General Peter McAllister of Shadow Company. I ran into some of you pussies in Saigon. Oh, you did you? Um, so, well, Predator. That would be Predator, Stagwar. Well, I find that with most series, William. The first Star Wars in '77. To this day, I think it's the best one. And that wasn't the first one written. Lucas was on the good yayo because a lot of people don't know this. A great job, Jordan. I don't want to show the people your handiwork just yet, but if you notice, the new cover art for today's episode was done by the masterful Jordan the Lion. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Kip Carlos, and I get along with him very well, but I'm really trying to separate myself from anyone from that world. And I love him, Carlos. I get along with him, but I just, I'll talk about it for a second. They all snipe each other, and then if I'm a guest on the show, they start talking shit about me, and I have nothing to do with that world. So, but I mean, if you think about it, the first three Star Wars that we saw, so 77, 80, and I think 83, those were the middle three. And then he went back and we then saw the first three has the middle three. And then I don't know what the hell's going on now, but um, that's pretty ballsy to sit there and go, I'm going to show you the middle three, and you're not going to know any of the characters. And then we're going to go back and show you the prequels where you're going to know eventually what happened because you've already seen the middle three. But I'm doing live streams for super chats. So I'm pretty sure George Lucas is okay. Who's Mike Tully? I think you're having me confused, Stagwar. I've never done a podcast with Mike Tully. Yeah, that holiday. Well, it's like when Kiss went on the Paul Lynde Halloween special. That was, if you look back, that was almost the beginning of the end of Kiss. Although I think it's really funny to have a really extremely gay Paul Lynde doing, like, these zingers. Um, "Hey, when you guys argue, do you kiss and make up?" Um, and then he said something like, "So you're Gene, you're Paul, you're Ace, and Peter. Where's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John?" And that was, no one knew he was gay back then. I mean, it seems pretty obvious now, but, yeah, Phantom of the Park might have been, well, that was the nail that hit the coffin of the original 4 guys, because I think Peter Criss had checked out by then. Ace was, about to check out. But I gotta be honest with you, Paul, how many balls are on a pool table? I'll say it depends on how many guys are playing. Paul, what do you call a man who makes diamonds? I'd call him darling. uh, oh, that's cool. Uh, oh, I did Mike Tully's spot. Oh, okay. I thought you meant I had him on Inappropriate Earl. I've done so many podcasts that I don't really remember. I mean, I've probably done hundreds, which I love because it's great to be the guest because I am capable of giving long-winded answers. So I'm good to just ask me a question and let it go. Paul Lynn, yeah, Paul Lynn, kind of a dark dude. I'll take Paul Lynn all day. Although Bruce Vilanch did pick up on me once at the movie theater when I went to go see Magic Mike. There was 3 people in this theater. Bruce Vilanch was literally in the front row. Now this theater held probably, I'll guess, 300 seats, and me and this girl with gigantic bomberinos. I thought, well, if we're gonna make out or something, we should sit in the back. Boing! We didn't make out. I dry humped her about an hour later. Pew! Um, and then so we're walking out of Magic Mike, and we just met at it was like 2 cars, traveling the same speed, the same distance. And I recognized him because, he is a great comedy writer. I said, "Hey, Bruce, what'd you think of the movie?" He's like, "Get rid of those double D's and I'll show you mine." I'm like, "What? Get out of town." Wait, are you being serious, Staggy? Stevie Wonder could see Bruce Valanche as, a man who likes men. I mean, Paul Lynde was just so funny, but I guess in real life he was kind of a drunk and miserable, so that was kind of sad. And then Jim J. Bullock took over for him. He was a different energy, although gay as well. And then Whoopi Goldberg, and who the hell knew that guy was gay? Hello, it's a Skakel classic from back in my open mic days. That was like the first joke I told that I wrote that I was really proud of. Um, who's the next Charles Nelson Riley? I mean, I mean, Carson Kressley, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think Paul Lynde was, back then you could be anti-Semitic and racist and, uh, do pretty well for yourself. Well, I used to see Charles Nelson Riley toward the end of his life at well, you guys aren't going to care about this, but there's a supermarket about a quarter mile west of me that I take Lois to sometimes to get food and whatnot, energy drinks, and I'd always see Charles Nelson Riley in there, but he looked pretty rough. I would guess I'm not sure when he passed. Well, I mean, dude, like, I mean, that joke is so bad. I want to send you upstairs Tuesday nights at the Comedy Store to do roast battle. Pew! I'm just kidding. Uh, well, yeah, I think the pavilions did turn into Ralph's, or Ralph's turned into pavilions. There's like supermarket monopolies now. I think the same company owns them all, like Kroger's, and like when I would go to Alabama, I'm not sure what the market. Yeah, Days, you've done enough. You've done enough. And please check out Jordan the Lion's review of AEW Revolution. Um, And Sting's last match, he was there. I was not. I pushed out at the end. It's not that I'm cheap. I just, the plane ticket was about 2 grand. Now the ticket to the actual event, they weren't that bad. I mean, in section A, row 9, I think it was the day of the event. I think it was $270. Not horrible. But then, the Uber from Charlotte to Greensboro and back, that's a couple $100. So I just, I pushed out, to be honest with you. And I do regret not going, you know, because I had a really good set at the Comedy Store Saturday night. No, I know it was. I just, I'm at the point now where I weigh, okay, do I want to buy a leather jacket or go to a once in a lifetime event and have those memories? So it's at this point, I'd rather have a new leather jacket or leather pants or, whatever. So, by the way, just a breaking news in the hockey world: the Los Angeles Kings put Jared Anderson Dolan on waivers, and the Nashville Predators have claimed him. Now, interestingly enough, the Nashville Predators are in town next week, and they are coming to the Comedy Store Thursday night to see me. So, there you go. Um, and a lot of notable players out there left for the Kings to swoop in on, dumpster diving. We got Tyler Toffoli, Lawton, Vetrano, Eberle, Duclair, Dumba, Markstrom, Schultz, Tatar, Bushnevich, Jake Allen, the goalie, Nick Dowd, Jack Roslovic, Riley Smith, William Carrier, Max Pacioretty, but he's had like 2 Achilles surgeries. Kubalik, Zucker, Maroon, I would like. He's a big, nasty guy. Savard and Bogosian. So, and rumors have it that the New York Rangers. I now see that's funny, Stagwar. Tweet it out. I can't like it because I'm on a gag order. I love how I'm the non-predator and I'm in trouble. This business is outstanding. How's the camera look to you guys? The new camera. Yes, the Blues are, big game tonight for the Kings. I forget it. We play the Ottawa Senators. Who knows? Jacob Chikrin might walk across the hall after the game. We've always been in on Jacob Chikrin. Jeff Chikrin, his dad, blocked me on Twitter, but we sorted it out. And Vegas just keeps adding players. I mean, they must be doing something like I don't know how they got Noah Hannafin. Uh, okay, thank you, Secret Snake. I just, I want to make this. Yeah, that's the way I like it. I mean, I could do this, but if I did this, I'd have to really go like that to read the chat. So I have a Stig. Well, not that many, William Zoom. The only people who blocked me on Twitter are Bill Cosby, but I'm okay with that. I mean, it is kind of cool to be blocked by a Hall of Fame rapist. Hulk Hogan. Now, I'm assuming Hulk Hogan doesn't operate his Twitter, but my Hulk Hogan sex tape joke was shown around the clock on that TNT show, Rich and Shameless. Come on, that's a funny joke. Like, come on. Clearly, I'm a fan. Um, yeah, I look a little bit like Rivers Cuomo. Beverly Hills, that's where I wanna be. Well, I think Steve Austin blocked me. Not the $6 million man, but the because of my association with Piper. But I just spoke the truth. I mean, Steve Austin did kick us off of Podcast One. I mean, he told the owner of Podcast One, it's him or me. And Piper, he probably didn't even know who I was. And then we went to Earwolf, which was another podcast studio. Of course, they went out of business. What a shock, given who was on that network. Uh, and the ratings were good. I mean, Piper got like 50,000 downloads a week, and we get kicked off of that. So I don't think that um, I don't. I think the rudest thing I said about Stone Cold is his gimmick was a beer can crushing on his head. Get over it. So blows good. Yeah, that is a great. Did you hold that sign up, Jordan the Lion? I want proof. I want proof. Gavin Newscomb, Hogan blocked Jesse Ventura, unionizing the WWF. Uh, I mean, what are you going to do? Um, I watched that Hulk Hogan body cam when he's trying to fucking get his kid out of the DUI. Man, it was funny and sad at the same time. Where Hulk Hogan strolls up to the cop with like a Moses walking stick. Uh, it's just like I don't know. I don't know about that. Um, it's kind of sad. And man, he's got like 2 hip replacement surgeries. It's like, man, I don't want to see any of my heroes anymore. Well, I mean, Hogan. Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, Gavin Newsom. I thought for a second, oh my God, the governor of California is in my stream. I'd get some numbers then if I roasted his ass. I mean, I want to get out of LA so bad I might move to Austin. Hello, boing, 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 boing. Just kidding. I'll never leave LA. I'm a soldier. Oh yeah, Hogan would have said, "Hey brother, I'll get you free tickets to TNA. Nick Nemeth is facing Moose, brother." Um, Jordan, you're killing me right now with the Jordan is my artwork man. Follow Jordan, watches, super chat Jordan. There's enough food for all of us to eat. I like Shawn Michaels. I was always a WCW, NWA, and I don't mean the rap group, but Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, the Freebirds, World Class. Well, that's World Class Championship Wrestling. Um, what else? I mean, like, obviously, I grew up watching WWF, but then for some reason, I got I forget what cable station it was, but I got World Class Championship Wrestling. So that's why I became a big fan of like the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, Iceman King Parsons, Colonel De Beers, Kamala, James Helwig when he was the Dingo Warrior. Um, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mean Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, he was in World Class. I think has Big Red, and you also had Scott Hall when he was the Diamond Stud. Um, but I think the biggest pop, and I wish I was better at technology. I could pull up this clip, but I don't want to be a clip show. But it's wrestling, so it's different. Um, was when Magnum TA had his car accident, um, and so they needed a tag team partner for Dusty Rhodes. So that's the only reason they turned Nikita Koloff face. And then so he goes to the ring kind of by himself with Nikita Koloff trailing, and it looks like Nikita Koloff is going to join the Horsemen. And in the ring were J.J. Dillon, who was actually an accomplished wrestler. I never really knew that. And Ole Anderson, rest in peace. So Dusty Rhodes goes in, and the crowd's hot, and they're like double teaming Dusty Rhodes. And then Nikita Koloff goes in, pauses at the top of the ramp like he's going to join in and start beating up Rhodes. And then he joins in and starts beating up Ole Anderson and J.J. Dillon. And the crowd, it's probably the biggest pop I've ever heard. Now, I think it might have been in the Greensboro Coliseum, to be honest with you. And it's the biggest audience reaction for a crowd that size I've ever heard. So if you want to check it out yourself, I wish I could. I mean, I'm sure there's some way I could pull it up, but I don't want to fuck up the stream. Check out Nikita Koloff face turn, Dusty Rhodes, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, I still get the goosebumps. Um, and because this is at the height of the Cold War in the mid '80s, I believe. And so Nikita Koloff turning face. It was unheard of because we were still bitter enemies with Russia. Uh, and well, the funny thing is before that, when Nikita was facing Magnum TA, this is another good thing to look up on YouTube. But just look up Nikita Koloff Magnum TA. They do the not autograph, the contract signing. So it's the NWA president, I forget his name, and the two Koloffs, and then Magnum TA and his mom. Now, Magnum TA's mom wasn't clued in on the business, so she thought the shit was real. So there's a line that Nikita Koloff says, "What are you, a mama's boy?" And as soon as he said "mama's boy," that was Magnum TA's cue to jump over the table. And so the Koloffs start beating the shit out of Magnum, and Magnum's mom is like in the corner crying, going, "Oh no, stop, stop." She thought it was real. So that's why, like, one of the cool things I like about being my age is, like, I watched wrestling when I thought it was real, to be honest with you. Like, oh shit, Kamala's from Uganda. How'd they get him over here? When that first promo he did was in Jerry Jarrett's backyard in Texas. I literally thought, how'd they get a camera in the Ugandan jungle? It seems kind of silly now, but there was really no internet. Uh, well, the Road Warriors were huge too. Well, wrestling was better back then, and I know everyone says this about their era, but when you think of all the technological advances, like last night on AEW Dynamite, Okada debuted, and all day on the internet, it was like, "Hey, I just saw Okada at the where were they last night? I forget where they were." At whatever airport. I was like, "Oh, he's going to debut tonight." Um, so with no internet, it would have been like, "Oh my God, Okada's here." I didn't even know he wasn't in Japan. I mean, I remember when the Ultimate Warrior debuted in WCW. They were in Buffalo on a Monday Night Raw, and some fan. I used to go on this. What was it? The lordsofpain.net. It still might be around. Um, Hey, I just saw the Ultimate Warrior with his gear bag at the Buffalo airport. I'm like, oh, he's debuting. Um, yeah, I mean, Legion of Doom, Devastation Incorporated was very good. Um, and I think Nikita Koloff would have had a great run against Hulk Hogan in the WWF, but he wasn't like he loved wrestling, but I think he was very loyal. And I think he quit wrestling. A lot of people think he quit wrestling when Van Vader injured his neck on a botched, I think it was a pile driver maybe, or a Vader bomb. But his wife got very sick, and she ended up passing away. And he left wrestling to take care of her. Like they always say, "To death do us part." And he's actually a good guy. Like he's religious and like. I think. Hold on, let me see if I could pull out something from the archives. I might have to turn the light on for a second. To Earl, be a champion. I mean, can you imagine? Hold on here. Let me just turn this light down. Can you imagine this guy being a face? Rest in peace. Signing it that he's got a 14-inch dick. And my ex-girlfriend, Whitney Rice, give her a follow. I don't hold any grudges. She did that for me. Well, he was really into his gimmick, Stagwar. Like, he literally I forgot well, he was from, I think, Russo, Minnesota, but, he literally learned Russian and would only speak Russian out in public. And then one night, he said he was going into the supermarket to get food or whatever, and not the waitress, but the cashier was like I think she called him by his real name and said, "Hey, you can speak English to me. I know it's a gimmick." I think he legally changed his name to Nikita Koloff. Yeah, I mean, I liked the NWO better than Degeneration X. Well, that's like back in the day, random guy, when you had to fucking, you would, what was it? Not was it Pro Wrestling Illustrated or there's one at the time there was like one big magazine, and you would read about the results like a month later. That's when I first became aware of Abdullah the Butcher. Yeah, I mean, when I have my studio up and running, instead of my kitchen, I'll have like 3 or 4 wrestling picks, behind me. Maybe my big jellies artwork, but that would take up pretty much the whole background. I do have a great Jack Lambert picture right there. It will be cool. I just have to sell a few more hockey jerseys to create the space, and then and I think it. I mean, I have hardwood floors, so I'm sure that the sound is a little echoey, but there's nothing I can do about that. But when I go upstairs, at some point, it's carpeted and the hockey jerseys, my friends like, oh, you don't even need soundproofing. The jerseys will act as the soundproofing. Uh, yeah, I mean, well, if you watch, go Secret Snake, go watch. I bet you do have wood, you piazza. Uh, if you watch that clip again, there's a guy in the front row. I think he's wearing a white ECW shirt. He literally starts crying with Hulk Hogan turning in to be a bad guy. Oh, I know. You had Nikita, Rude, Hennig, the Road Warriors, Darso, I think Mr. Perfect, and Tom Zink. I haven't heard that name in a minute. Um, and I think a few others. I think one of was it Axe or Smash was also there, or that's Barry Darso, right? Um, They were all bouncers at the same bar. Can you imagine starting shit in there where like Rick Rude is the smallest guy, and from what I understand, the toughest. Like from what I'm hearing, that like Rick Rude was like you couldn't hurt the guy. Like you would have to kill him to stop the fight. But luckily, until when it got to that point, I think the other guys stepped in. I did watch The Dark Side of the Ring, about John Tenta, aka Earthquake. Um, well, Colt Cabana, I have an issue with because he owns or runs Pro Wrestling Tees, man, and they've sent me some wonky product. Now, if you don't want to super chat, that's fine. But if you want to, there's ways to contribute to this stream for free, and one of those is tweeting at Pro Wrestling Tees. I think it might be PWTs. They sent me a Sting shirt with like a 10-inch gash in it. And I reached out to them and said, hey, I don't want my money back. I'll send you guys the shirt back. I just want a shirt without a gash in it. They sent me a fucking Will Ospreay shirt where it's off center. Like, it's not the biggest tragedy in the world when you realize what's going on in the world right now. But come on, man. Come on, bruv. Well, I mean, Pro Wrestling Tees, it's not a cheap. By the way, I do have an Inappropriate Earl podcast shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. Now, you might think I'm mentioning that on the DL so you guys will buy one. I don't want you to buy it. I've sold like 5 in 7 years, and like I get $7 a shirt. That's not even half. So I'd rather you super chat. Lois would too. King of the Gash. I don't know if I'm king of the gash, but uh, I've done all right for myself. I mean, I'm not like fucking Vince Neil in the mid '80s, but like, you know, um, you know, I've done better than most. I'll just put it that way. I want to open up. When I quit comedy because I've made so much money in the business, uh, I want to open up 2 bars, and they're going to be attached. One's a bar for straight people, and we're going to call it the Gash Station. And then in the back, or maybe the store next door, I'm going to call it the Bone Zone for men who like men. They'll be connecting. Maybe that middle area will be called the Cockatoo Room. Pew! Lois is doing good. She's just got a permanent cough. There's nothing I can do about it. But trust me on this one. This dog lives the life of O'Reilly, and I don't mean Kyle O'Reilly. It's good to see him back at AEW Revolution. See, we can dip out now. Let me refresh my Twitter, see if anything else is going on. Tonight is trade deadline eve. A lot of people want Tyler Toffoli. Jake Gensel has been traded to the Carolina Hurricanes per a fan. Jordan Eberle is on the move. Yes, well, I don't do. I've been concentrating my lost interest on the streams. We see Frank Vetrano trending. Oh, nothing yet. Bushnevitz is also trending. Of course, yesterday, Carrick and Henrik went to the Edmonton Oilers for a couple picks. Edmonton getting better. I mean, there are some interesting guys still available. Like I just gave you that list, but Bushnevich, Chikrin, Anthony Duclair, Vetrano, Alex Carrier, Eric Johnson, David Savard, not Savard, a big uh, defenseman. You always need a big D man in the playoffs. You tell me about it. I've always wanted to have a gay bar, call it the Cockatoo. I don't know how to do that. My lost interest. I can barely do this stream. I'm not pulling clips. I will watch the State of the Union later. I have to go to yoga, and what time is it? About an hour. So, I mean, it's all bullshit. Those streams or those State of the Union. Half the crowd doesn't want to applaud because they're Republicans. The other half over applauds. Because and Biden's not even their guy. Like most Democrats in that Senate, they don't want Biden running again. Have an 84-year-old president in a couple of years. Shit. I just like the reaction of like the one Republican that's usually behind the president, and then Kamala Harris is usually on the other seat, and it's like killing the Republican to applaud at anything. Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I mean, Parayko was kind of rumored to be on the move to Toronto, but Toronto traded last night, or maybe it was this morning, for Joel Edmondson from the. Yeah, I would love a Jamie like producer, but I don't. Listen, this isn't breaking the fourth wall here, but I'm not exactly killing it in the streams. So I don't. I'm not going to do this stream and lose money by hiring someone to be my producer. So that's not me crying poverty, but I'm done doing comedy at a loss. I've done pretty well in the streams the last month and a half. I think last month I made about $700. This month, I'm not going to lie to you, about 350. So, that's $1,000 extra I wouldn't have in my life. But that's not enough to pay a producer. Now you might argue, well, Earl, if you paid a producer and you had a better technological stream, you'd make more money. That might be true too. But Yeah. I mean, I know it's not that hard. I mean, I'm sure. Like I'm looking at the buttons on my screen right now. I'm sure there's something where I could just pull up a YouTube clip, and maybe at some point, I can figure that out. But for now, I really wanted to. My goal was okay. Get a better mic. I got it. Get a better camera. I got it. Um, I got a nice, comfortable chair where I can. I mean, this chair is comfy. I got to be on. What's the brand name? GT Player. And no, they are not sponsors. But who knows? Maybe in the future they will be. And once again, shout out to the legendary Comedy Store Wrestling Podcast producer John Sosis. That's Jon. Check out his Lego Land podcast. Let me look up John's Instagram so you can follow him because I'm a very loyal person. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so. Follow this man. Say it ain't Sosis. Sosis. All one word. Say it ain't Sosis. Tell him I sent you. Um, and it's all about spreading the love. Well, a little thunder right now. I'm just, I know you have lots of streaming opportunities. So I hope that, as limited as this stream might be, I do think it's, we're getting it better. Um, and, the internet's pretty good. I found a way to work with my hotspot on the phone. So right now, this is as good as it's going to get, guys guys. And, we'll just move on and upward from here. This is really the stream that's about everything and nothing at the same time. And now I know that starting a stream wanting to talk NHL trade deadline deals is risky because, let's be honest. I don't think I have a lot of hockey fans in the house. Tracy, she's busy, man. And she's probably not like into all the people trolling her. I mean, Tracy is an amazing girl, really pretty. And what girl wants to be called like fat and ugly on a stream where she's not even getting paid? Like, fuck off. Uh, it's just like why I stopped doing any Dabbleverse related shows. It's like I'm not even a part of this world. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't even do it if I was getting paid, you know. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. She'll come into this stream because like people are nice to her here. But the whole Dabbleverse world is just like talking shit, making fun of people, calling someone fat, making fun of their hairline, making fun of their nose, making fun of their weight. You can do that to me, but you're gonna do it to my face. Let's see how brave you are then. So, and they all tape each other. I mean, the whole world is based on negativity. So, do I wish I had more than 18 people in the stream? 100% I do. I'd be lying to you guys if I said I didn't. But I'd rather have 18 or so people in here, make a few bucks, and, be happy, versus, having 500 people in here, half of them super chatting me, "Hey, you're not funny. Fuck you, you old creep." I'm good. I know I'm funny. By the way, speaking of being funny, and it is a membership perk, I will be at the Comedy Store Saturday night. 12:15. Closing out the main room in the Kinnison, Brody, Holtzman spot. But I admire Kevin for, creating that whole. I mean, Kevin basically created the Dabbleverse and his character, which really isn't a character, it's just who he is. I think it's fucking great. Like, and the funny thing is, people think they're trolling him. He's actually trolling them. Oh, you want to call me unfunny? You want to say how great my brother is over me? $5. Um, so, I mean, I'm still trying to figure out the art of the super chat. Whoa, Lois don't like thunder. Actually, I don't like it that much either, to be honest with you. It's kind of scary how it just pops up out of nowhere. But so I'll take my happy-go-lucky stream. I will be doing a NHL trade deadline stream tomorrow. Maybe I won't do the whole 5 hours now that I think about it. Maybe I'll do 10 to 12 when the action really picks up. Now, that would be 10 my time. The trade deadline ends at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't think a 5-hour stream would serve me well. So maybe tomorrow will be 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll talk hockey. Gonna be a lot of action. We'll see what happens, and we'll take it from there. Any trade predictions? Well, I know the Kings are hard in on Tyler Toffoli. The rumored asking price out of Jersey is a first-round pick and a mid-level prospect. So think someone from the Kings organization, like maybe Simon Tyval, the Finnish scorer, Pinelli, maybe Kaliev, but Kaliev's playing tonight, so I don't think he's going to get traded. I mean, I think deep down they're trying to work it out with him, but so I would say Kaliev in a first for Toffoli, but well, he's familiar with the LA and everyone loves him, and he's still got some gas in the tank, and probably I think the first line's basically what's it, Kopitar, Kempe, and Byfield. Second line is more Deneau, and then probably Laferriere. And then the third line, if they do get Toffoli, would be PL Dubois, the enigmatic PL Dubois with Arvidsson and Toffoli. I mean, that's a good third line. And then the fourth line, depending on who gets traded, if no one gets traded, would probably be my buddy Carl Grundstrom, Blake Lizotte, and Trevor Lewis. So, and they're kind of in a pickle against the cap. I mean, Matt Roy is unsigned, going into next year. So do you trade him and get something, or do you keep him for a stretch run and hope you can work out financially down the road? I mean, they could definitely get a first-round pick for Roy, given what Sean Walker retrieved yesterday in the trade from Philly to Colorado. So that's one where you're like, that's a tough one, because if you trade Roy, you're saying, hey, we're not going all in this year. But or the Ottawa Senators are in town tonight. I mean, maybe Jacob Chychrun stays after the game. But I don't think you can get Chychrun and Toffoli. I mean, tradable assets for the Kings that you could do. I think if you bring in another defenseman, absolutely Jordan Spence is expendable, because Brandt Clark is here, although Clark is not ready defensively. He is. People thought Sean Durzi was suspect on defense. Clark is just, he just turned 21, so I don't think people are asking him to be Larry Robinson, but in the playoffs, he's going to get hit and hit hard, and I don't know if he's ready yet. But he is a great offensive mind. I mean, you could see with some of the passes he pulls off. And, I mean, Saros is often linked to the Kings, but, I got to be honest with you, JFMC. Yeah, it is rare, William. Thunderstorm. I mean, I can't recall the last time I heard a thunderstorm, but Talbot and Riddick, they're not the problem in LA. So I mean, really the biggest problem for the Kings right now is the enigmatic play of Dubois. Uh, because on paper the Kings are great down the middle. Kopitar, Deneau, Dubois, and Lizotte. It's a solid group of centers. And Byfield in a pinch could play center. I mean, that's his natural position. But I don't think he's going to replace any of those guys. And his speed on the wing is I think, is better served. Um, so it'll be interesting. Well, Lois is going with me. Lois will be in the car while I take yoga. I can't leave her here alone. She'll tear up the joint. She's out of control right now. And she loves it in the car. I have a huge throw rug, very thick, with basically a down comforter, you would call it. So Lois be chilling, and she just goes to sleep. Like, she's fine because she figures if she's in the car and we go somewhere that I'm coming back relatively soon. So, oh hell yeah! I mean, I didn't know it was supposed to rain today. It's very dark. I mean, you could see. Usually, I mean, there's a window right there, and it's that dark. So, um, it's what is it? 4:51 p.m. So it's kind of yeah. I mean, well, she knows. But here's the crazy thing: she destroyed my Dodge Hellcat. She tunneled in almost to the brake line. Now, luckily, when I returned the car, I just put the floor mat over Lois's handiwork, and I escaped unscathed. But Lois is a real maniac. So, as much as I love her, she can be a pain in the ass. So, but she's pretty quiet right now, so she's tired. We've taken her for a few walks today, but let's get back to hockey talk. Let me refresh Twitter. Rob Blake is trending, so something's going down in LA. I've got some moles in the Kings organization. They alerted me to Tyler Toffoli, but they have to get a third team involved because the Kings are up against the cap, baby doll. Um, and there's a lot of good players out there. I mean, Vetrano from the Ducks would help anyone. Maroon is just a big body. He's kind of nasty. Um, someone, I forget where, because I like to give people credit. Someone suggested that the Kings go after that guy from Columbus that beat up Rempe, Olivier. I forget his first name. He'd be good on a fourth line. Like, I would love a fourth line of Blake Lizotte, Carl Grunstrom, and Olivier, because you got to play nasty in the playoffs, and I don't think Trevor Lewis is nasty enough, to be honest with you. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we are less than 24 hours away from a lot of stuff going down. Well, my Hellcat had low miles. I mean, I think, I had 36,000 miles, on the lease, and I think it had maybe 19,000 on it. I just don't drive as much as I used to. I mean, my Jeep has the same thing. I think I just cracked 18,000 miles, so I have half the lease in terms of mileage. I think I give the car back in a month. Now I got a warrant for my arrest about 2 months after I traded in the Hellcat because the paperwork hadn't gone through, I guess. And some guy who had bought the Hellcat was in Minnesota and got like 3 or 4 speeding tickets, which I could understand. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when I used to take the Hellcat to Garden Grove to play ball hockey. You guys know I'm one of the elite ball hockey legends of the Southern California scene. It's about a 45-minute drive from my house, and I usually would take the 405, or I take the 10 to the 5 to the 605 to the 405, and I can't tell you how many times, especially driving back at night when there's not a ton of cars on the road. On the 605, it's a pretty fast freeway. Like, when you get on the 605, you got to be moving. Um, and you get up to 100 miles an hour, and you don't even feel it. Like, the Hellcat was a very smooth ride for a car that was 707 horsepower. And when I drove off the lot, the salesman kind of whispered to me, it's actually closer to 740, but for legal reasons, we got to say 707. And, or I think I went to me and a girl who shall remain nameless went to Palm Springs once, and we got it up to like 120, and she's like, Earl, you got to slow down. I didn't even realize I was going 120. Uh, so, by the way, check out the movie Barbie. Um, so I could see someone going. I mean, I think the speedometer went up to 190, and the same salesman was like, "Hey, you can get it to 200 if it's right." I'm like, I'm never going to feel the need to want to drive 200 miles an hour. What am I, AJ Foyt, going into the corner? That's a 70s Indianapolis 500 reference for you kiddies out there. So, if you got any last minute questions, get them in now. I must mentally prepare for yoga. It cleans my mind from all the shitheads I have to deal with in Los Angeles comedy. But I appreciate you guys listening. Um, yeah, I mean, well, and the defensive pairings, just to finish up on the Kings, well, right now Anderson's out, so you've got Doughty, and they kind of pair him with whoever. Uh, you know, Doughty and Edmonds. You've got Gavrikov and Roy, and then the third pairing is Spence and who else? I'm drawing a blank. Moverari, the Swedish defenseman that they called up. They didn't put him on waivers, and then they gave him a 2-year contract, and he did not get claimed. They put Moverari and Anderson Dolan on waivers in Nashville. Picked him up. So, but you never say never of him coming back. I mean, Nashville earlier in the year picked up Samuel Fagemo, and they tried to put him back down on waivers, and the Kings got him back. He, I think, is leading the AHL in goal scoring. So a lot of people are wondering, why hasn't he been called up yet? And I think it's because the Kings still aren't sure what they're doing with Kaliev. And of course, you've got big save Dave Rittich and Cam Talbot, and goal. In the minors, you have Portillo, depending on where you're from. He's like the big prospect. And my friend Jacob Ingham, who they just signed to a 2-way deal today. He's like a 6'7" goalie. He's come to the Comedy Store a few times. This guy's got potential. Don't sleep on him. Right now, he's in the ECHL just because I think they're trying to see what Portillo can do. Of course, he was the free agent we signed from Buffalo. So, should be a lot of news. A lot of players sat tonight. Toffoli sat. I think, Eberle turned down a 2-year, $9 million extension from the Kraken. So I believe if they do play tonight, he will sit. Now, a lot of King fans thought Kaliev would be on the move, but he's playing tonight. So, and they're going with a very weird setup. Well, it's not very weird. Some teams do it. They're not going 60, 12 forwards. They're going 11 forwards and 7D. So England will get spot duty in case the game gets rough. Now, Ottawa does have some tough players. They've got um, Brendan Lemieux, who's he's a world class shit disturber. You've got also Brady Tkachuk. So I could see England playing a little bit more than he normally would. Um, no, I'm not. I won't be. Although some guy did do. I think he did do a stream the other night in yoga. Uh, I don't think a couple girls were happy with that, but I'm just trying not to fall over in the back. And there's this really hot girl who does it next to me. We have like our own crew in the corner, and like she's like a super yogi, but and I'm like barely holding on. Yeah, I don't I think I'm the only straight guy in class, so it's funny. Like there's a bunch of hot girls, a couple gay dudes, and then me and like my Metallica shirt. So I definitely stand out. I think his channel is joeyc.com. Hello. Yes, thank you, Earth sucks. It's an NHL trade deadline stream. We talked a little some movie talk, some pro wrestling talk. Oh, who's your cousin? Yeah, I mean the Kings do have a lot of youth, but like Turcotte's been hurt a lot, but he seems to have finally found a way to not get hurt. Oh, Ray is going live. I don't really care, to be honest with you. I'm not competing with Ray or anyone else. Like at some point I got to go on. I used to be like, okay, I won't go on till everyone's gone on, but like, I finally figured out, I got to go on. I'll do my stream to 13 to 40 people, and hopefully make a few bucks and then call it a night. But thank you, Capone 609 for the info. Yeah, and hit the like button too. How do we have more likes than people in here? Out of control. Um, yes, help me, Capone. Or help who? Help Ray? I've helped enough people. I'm a one-man soldier now. No one helps me, so I don't help anyone else. You guys help me. Ty Thorpe. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, you figure the lineup right now, I'll just go over I mean, I've done roast battle on television. I don't really care about someone doing a Zoom roast. Roast battle Jimmy Carr on international television and beat him and talk to me. Or beating K. Trevor Wilson in Canada on international television. Thank you, Soren Ringholm. I think you are new to the stream. Thank you very much. But if you look at the Kings roster right now in terms of talent, you've got, there's not a lot of spots. You've got Kopitar, Kempe, Byfield, first line. Second line is Moore, Deneau, and Laferriere. Third line, if they do get Toffoli, would be Arvidsson, Dubois, and Toffoli. If they don't get Toffoli, that probably would be Dubois, Arvidsson, maybe Turcotte. Fourth line would be Grundstrom, Lizotte, and Trevor Lewis. But if someone's hurt, Kaliev slides into probably the third line. Thank you, Capone. I am the motherfucking man. I don't do a snipe show. I don't talk about others, roasting others. You don't think I could roast people? Shit. I've got more TV credits than the whole Dabbleverse put together. Well, maybe outside of Kevin Brennan, but I'm two on the charts. So, Toffoli is trending big time right now. Let's see what's going on. I mean, a lot of people want Toffoli. So it's funny if the Kings get him because he played a horrible game against the Kings last week. Uh, but then, so you look at guys in Ontario. You've got, you've got Akil Thomas. He's being groomed for the NHL. Fagimo, he's I think leading the league in goals. Uh, I think Simon Tyval will be in the mix next year. I think Pinelli is lighting the lamp pretty good. Um, so there's really not a lot of room now. Next year, will Arvidsson be on the team? I think he's up after this year. Kaliev, needs a new contract, so I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. Um, so it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Kings. And, like I said, I think Fagimo and Thomas will probably be on the roster next year. Um, so, yes, we are still talking sport games. But we're going to call the stream in about, let's say we're at an hour and 5 minutes. We'll do 10 more minutes. So if you've got any questions, concerns, fire them away, baby dolls. Um, well, we're talking hockey, but we can talk AEW wrestling or whatever you guys want to talk in the stream, in the in the land. Did you talk about the Matt Rife thing? No, I mean you're the first person to bring it up. So for those of you wondering, what is the Matt Rife thing? I believe some TikToker or comic came out and said that he and Matt Rife were offered basically viral fame if they would blow these two executives. And this, according to this guy, he said he walked out, but when he left, Matt was already on his knees. Who knows? It sounds like the guy has a beef with Matt and made up that story. But on the other, so I'm not. I don't. I wasn't in the room, so I don't know what happened, if anything. But you know, does that story sound implausible? I could see it happening. Not take Matt out of the picture, and there's any two guys so desperate to make it. Um, I could see that happening. There's a lot of predators out there, man. And Matt's a great looking guy, like he's chiseled and all that shit. So I it sounds a little too much for me, but sadly, because I know of so many predators in this business, I could see at the minimum that being offered to him. Now, whether he did anything or not, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I mean, what I want to know is where are those two executives right now? Hey, can you guys get me 100 people in streaming with 10 super chatting me? Boom, boom, boom. I'd be on my knees quicker than Usain Bolt out on the blocks. Pew! Um, so yeah, if you're in town Saturday night, Los Angeles being the town, I will be at the Comedy Store. Take advantage of the membership perk and come to the Comedy Store as my guest. See the Daddy Man do 45 minutes to an hour, following famous comic after famous comic. Most comics in my position would just do 15 and leave, not me. I hold the fucking crowd hostage. Just kidding. Um, well, yeah, I mean, listen, we all know my famous Me Too story. Like, so, that was a very similar situation, to be honest with you. I mean, there wasn't another guy in the room. It was just me and the casting director. But, it's just fucking, this guy basically said, suck my dick and I'll make you famous. And, he didn't say those words, but basically. And I was like, I don't want it that bad. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. And then when I would watch X Files and Millennium, which are the two main shows he casted, and I said this before, but I'd always see like one role where a guy had like maybe he was the guy behind the counter in the convenience store. He was the sheriff who would have the line, "Hey, sheriff, the body's over here," and he's like a good-looking dude. I'm like, I know how that guy got that part. Boom, 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 boom. There is no valet at the Comedy Store. I can park in the parking lot. The comics get to park in the lot. The customers can either park at the Pink Dot parking lot which I believe on weekends is $20. Pink Dot is like a liquor store or whatever, but they have a convenience store, I would say. Um, but they have a big parking lot in the back. A lot of people park at the Andaz Hotel, which is literally right next door. That's, I believe, $26. It's not valet. Well, that's what he wanted to do, William. Um, and then if there is an open air parking lot that's I think $2 for every 2 hours. So it's the most economical part. But if you've seen the main room show, so it's $4 for 2 hours in that lot. The main room show's about 3 hours. So you have to run to the parking lot and re-up because they take it. Here's a little hint around if you ever go to the Comedy Store and you park in that lot, or if you park in a meter, you put your money in and it goes green. And when the money runs out, it beeps red, and that red is a signal that is emitted to the parking ticket people to come and give you a ticket. So, um, you know, uh, just be aware. Well, I mean, looking back, I would never do that. I don't want to make it that bad, to be honest with you. But, um, I can only imagine the people who did do it. Like, we joke around a lot, but, in the movie, what was it, Commando, when there's that one scene where Schwarzenegger asked the stewardess, "Well, stewardess, how long before we land in Valverde?" "We land in Valverde in 10 hours." Excuse me, it was 11 hours. He fucked that girl and said, I'll give you a line, sweetheart. Just suck my pee-pee. Um, well, I think Robert Schimmel had the best joke. Someone asked him if he would suck Mike Tyson's dick for $1 million. And he's like, hey, that buys a lot of mouthwash. Hello. All right, we got 3 more minutes before we end the stream. Let me thank my tippers, my fan funders. And that page is blank. Out of control. Just kidding, guys. I'm just fucking with you. So that's my favorite, like, gay blow joke. Robert Schimmel also has my favorite gay joke. He's like, they should have professional wrestling where the loser gets fucked in the ass. That way, at least one guy's wrestling for real. I love Robert Schimmel. And he had some really cute jokes. On his very first comedy album, hey, I went to the hotel and I called downstairs to the concierge and said, hey, where can a guy get fucked around here? He said, try the gift shop. I called downstairs for turn down service. The lady said, I'd never come up to your room in a million years. Pew! So check out Robert Schimmel's first comedy album. I don't remember what it was called, but it's very funny. Actually, I like Dennis Miller's first comedy album. And then he got all political, and I just kind of lost interest. But this has been a fun stream, kiddies. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing a 2-hour NHL trade deadline. William Zoom was right. He called me out. I said, I'm going to do a 5-hour stream on the trade deadline. He's like, you ain't getting up at 7 a.m. You are right, William Zoom, as always. He was pretty funny. I mean, he wasn't one of my favorites, but he sure knew how to pull a trigger. Hello! That reminds me of a Junior Seau joke. Someone said if he was such a good linebacker, he could have caught a bullet. So, yeah, I just started. Well, we've done an hour and 13 minutes here. We've got 13 people in the stream. So I don't imagine a 5-hour stream about hockey going over that well. But who knows? I might wake up tomorrow at 6:30 and say, fuck it. Yeah, it's always sad when a comic dies. It's a fucking brutal business, man. It's just, I'm around so much death. It doesn't even bother me anymore. Like, I didn't know Richard Lewis, so I'm not going to lie and say I was devastated. But, there's been so many young comics who I knew that died, and, I'd cry for, a couple minutes, and then I'd be like, okay, what's for breakfast? I mean, Virgil last week uh, when Virgil died last week, I cried because I started getting all these texts, and then I was like, okay, I got to order Postmates. What's hockey? John Doe, that is a blocked offense right there, but I'll give you a pass because I don't know who you are. You're John Doe. So, all right, guys, it's an hour and 15 minutes. I appreciate you guys. I thought Lois was coming in to make an appearance. I appreciate the soccer with sticks, basically, but it's a lot harder. I mean, I don't think people really realize how um, difficult it is ice skating. Um, let's see, NHL deadline. Okay, NHL trade deadline. Let's see what's going on here. We'll do one last check. Okay, nothing new on that page. I don't think anything. I don't think anything is happening. Of course, some teams might take a chance on Evgeny Kuznetsov, but so far, Gunsel is probably the number one name. Rumors has it that the Rangers will be in on him. Uh, so, it's going to be a good day tomorrow. Sasha Banks, and by the way, next Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, Big Business. We've got the debut of Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné, hot off the heels of Kazuchika Okada's debut last night on AEW Dynamite. They fired Kenny Omega from the Elite and hired Okada. So clearly down the road, I think we're going to see an Okada Omega match. And they've wrestled many great matches in New Japan. But, New Japan's not really publicized that much in America. So there's a lot of matches for Okada that he's done over there that he could do here, and people would be down. Okada and Osprey would be great. Hell, maybe you could do a three-way. And I don't like three-ways, but between Okada, Osprey, and Omega, I'd be down with that. Now, they teased last night at the end of Dynamite something going down with Okada and Danielson. So that would be interesting. So there's some good things potentially happening in AEW. You had Sting's last match, which was a very good pay-per-view. Osprey and Takeshita was a 5-star match. And then, the debut of Okada last night and Osprey and Kyle Fletcher, a 5-star match. I mean, you got to save Osprey. You can't roll him out there every 3 days to do these killer matches. His body's going to break down. Exactly what's happening to Omega is going to happen to Osprey. Uh, I don't know, Jay Santos. I don't think he did. I think he's doing a stream right now. I think he was doing something about Ray's roast. So I don't know. I don't follow that world anymore. I mean, I still listen to Melton every now and then. MLC every now and then. Win by 2, but just I want nothing to do with that world. I mean, ironically, I used to listen to Steel Toe the most, and then I just kind of stopped. I don't know why. And I've never actually. I mean, I've listened to Carl. I've seen like clips, but I've never really listened to who are these podcasts. Are you a Kings fan? Big Kings fan, so I'm excited. Although sad they lost Jared Anderson Dolan to the Nashville Predators today. Big game tonight. I mean, they're all big now. I mean, the Kings are barely in the wild card slot. A lot of, Edmonton's, restocking. Vegas is out of control. Vancouver's fucking, so the Kings are like, I think they're a sneaky team if they could. I mean, I think they will get into the playoffs, but You've got, their goaltending is questionable at times. Right now, it's not. Both goalies are playing good, but Talbot's history is he does get hurt. So, going into the playoffs, if Talbot got hurt, your goalies would be Rittich and probably Eric Portillo. So that's well, they just also did sign for Ontario Reign Aaron Dell, who, he has some playoff experience, but like if Talbot or Rittich get hurt, you're looking at Aaron Dell as your starting goaltender in the playoffs. So it's going to be a very interesting 24 hours for the Kings. Big game tonight, trade deadline tomorrow, and then you're back to a big game Saturday night. Like every game's big now. So Poopy, I would ask who you are fans of, but I'm going to end the stream now. But come back in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to cover the last 2 hours of the NHL trade deadline, and go to NLO right now. I think he's going to snipe Ray, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really keep up. I'm not trying to play dumb coy. I just, when I had a couple streams recently going after me lightheartedly, but I remember telling Melton about 6 months ago, the Dabbleverse is imploding when they go after me. That's a clear sign you've run out of targets. We get it. Stuttering John's a fuck up. Kevin's angry. Shuli's pitching pennies. Ray is this. Chad's a drunk or whatever. So that ain't my life, baby dolls. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Follow me at Earl Skakel. Some of you don't know how to spell my name. Hold on here. I don't have an Adam or a Jamie. Let's it's pretty easy. I'm just at Earl Skakel everywhere. And then Saturday night, I'm at the Comedy Store. That's a membership perk. If you are ever in Los Angeles, I will take care of you at the Comedy Store. I'll give you a tour of the place afterwards, show you all the cool areas. And there is an area where the hippie lettuce may be inhaled. You can read into that what you will. And it's like a nightclub. There's 3 bars, there's all kinds of nooks and corners. If you happen to find a lady friend, boing! And that's all. Earl Skakel over and out.